Hey, so welcome, John. So yeah, sorry, you
No.
were saying I interrupted you.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying that today's lesson is, I like today's lesson because it's got one of those meditation visualizations in it, um,
Hmm.
which pop up every now and again. And
Enjoy
I'm
them.
gonna make, I'm gonna separate them out actually and make a note of where they are because they're good. I like them.
Huh. Huh. Yeah, there's a few of them. He's
Yeah,
got a few different meditation techniques
yeah,
in the course. There's the sort of deepening in, going within, sinking in, and then there's these visualization ones where you go
yeah,
through clouds into light.
yeah, yeah.
And there's one other which I can't recall right now, but Robert Perry wrote an article. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you
Oh, right.
about the meditation styles in the course.
Oh, yeah. That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'll see if I can find it somewhere in the email stream. I think. So yeah, we'll do a meditation. We'll just go in. Shall we go into the? Let's have a look at the quote and the lesson,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then get into a meditation, and then we'll do
Yeah.
the text. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah. I
just
don't know
thought
who
I'd.
Helen Keller is, but
Thank
faith
you.
is no.
No, no, okay. Interesting. I'm surprised. She was a woman who was blind, deaf, and dumb. She was born
Ah,
blind, deaf, and dumb, and she was helped by an amazing teacher, sort of out of a really dark state. I mean, she couldn't speak, she couldn't understand anything, and this teacher got through to her, and she had quite an amazing life, actually, a very
right.
life of service. Um,
Hmm.
Once this teacher got a hold of her and helped this kid out of her. I mean, imagine blind, deaf, and dumb.
Yeah, unimaginable, really.
I mean, you're just in your own world, and she was wild. This teacher managed to get through to her, and she became quite an amazing human being,
All right. Was that very long ago?
and did a lot of good. Uh, Check it out. I'll tell you. It's Helen Keller. I thought I put a link in there, but maybe not. Helen Keller, American author. Helen Adams Keller, 1968, she died. So,
Okay. Right.
American author, disability rights advocate, political activist, and lecturer.
You had a long life, 88. Yeah.
Yeah, lost her sight and her hearing after bouts of illness at the age of 19 months. Okay, so she wasn't born blind, deaf, and dumb, but her sight and her hearing. And wow, I mean, what an amazing um, Mary using home science when she met her first teacher and lifelong companion, Anne Sullivan. Taught her language, including reading and writing.
Hmm.
Included spelling words on Keller's hand to show the names of objects around her. So, I mean, amazing. How to
That,
speak and to understand other people's speech, even though she was deaf.
yeah.
Like, quite amazing. How did she do that? And she was blind.
And this is kind of
So,
like
talk about some.
before 1900. Yeah.
Yeah, 1880 she was born. So, she was a real pioneer, of showing that even though you're so-called disabled, you can do a lot. She toured the United States, traveled to 35 countries around the globe, advocating for those with vision loss, writing
Hmm.
14 books, hundreds of speeches and essays on topics ranging from animal rights to Mahatma Gandhi. Amazing,
Absolutely.
amazing. Yeah, I mean, being
Well,
blind and deaf, and yet, amazing. So just kind of, it's inspiring. What
and
possible
and
if
uh, Anne Sullivan must have been quite a character as well.
yeah.
A teacher.
And Sullivan was was the reason she overcame. She was best known to be instructor and lifelong companion of Helen Keller. Right. Okay. So she was partially blind without reading or writing skills. So she
Oh, wow.
understood. You see,
Yeah.
that was the thing. Age of 5, eye disease left her without reading, so she could relate
Yeah.
to Helen because she experienced it herself at a young age.
Yeah.
The teacher to Keller. Oh, amazing. So yes, people go through some serious difficulties.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And yet, they overcome and she lead quite amazing lives. So
Yeah.
that's
Giant.
why I reference these quotes, and then it's like, but there's a whole story behind it. So usually, just a tip on the quote. I think I actually did put it in the latest one. Let me just check that. On the quote, if you click on here, there we go. It'll take you to Helen Keller. You see,
Oh, I
to
didn't
the
realize.
author.
Okay. Yeah.
Little
Right.
tip. No. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes I put it in the main email. Maybe I should do that more often. But if you click on the link in the top one, then it'll take you there.
Yeah.
And then you can just read a bit more about the person who said it. Usually, there's something on Wikipedia about that. Yeah, so that's interesting. So really, this leads nicely into today's lesson. Strength that comes from faith, which is only tested in challenging times, and we're certainly having some of those. The world's being tested and challenged in a way that it hasn't been since maybe World War II, going through a big test, a big challenge, upheaval, crisis. And so then how do we respond? And Jesus says 2,000 years ago, it's with the measure you meet. We can only receive in accordance with the measure we meet. So the nature and extent of your faith produces the results you experience in your life. And then he also says that you must have faith in something. Because if you believe in any thought system, then you have faith in it.
Yeah.
And we cannot live our lives without following some thought system. So believing in a false self and the false world that it's made up is a form of faith. It's misplaced faith, misdirected faith, but it's still a form of faith. And he's saying, well, we must redirect our faith to another thought system. So faith in the truth of eternal love, no matter what appearances in the world seem to contradict this truth. And there's, the entire world contradicts this truth. So it requires a deep faith in something that's beyond form. And that's beyond any circumstance, beyond any temporary difficulty in this world. This is the only form of faith that is justified, that will ultimately not disappoint you, because it's faith in this permanent, eternal presence of love that will ultimately restore your mind to the peace of God that passeth all understanding. And to have this faith, the mind training is necessary. We must start to question our old beliefs about everything. So this course requires that you question every value that you hold. And let it go if you see that it's false. So I reference Byron Katie's work in the first 2 steps of this work process, the 4 liberating questions. She says, the first one, is it true? And then secondly, I ask again, can you absolutely know that it's true? If you think it's true from the first time, the second time, can you absolutely know that this belief is true?
Well,
and most of the time we don't. We can't
no,
say
I was
that.
going to say there's lots of things a spiritual sense, or in course terms, that we don't know are absolutely true.
Anything in perception we don't know is absolutely true, because perception is variable. So, when people tell you stuff, and I use the COVID pandemic as an example, but they say, this is the cause of it. Ask these questions. Is it true? And can you absolutely know that it's true? No, you can't really. There's no absolute proof of any of it, which then brings the whole thought system into question. So the idea of these questions is to question the ego, its foundation.
Yeah, but there's lots of things we could question in the course that we don't know are absolutely true. We are asked to believe.
You're asked to believe on seemingly irrational grounds, because the ego is, the rational mind of this world, saying, well, this is how it is on the level of form, and we're asked to go within and find something within us that tells us differently. It tells us that these beliefs are false and everything we're seeing is false. And there's no absolute proof of that at all. But there's something in your mind that knows the truth, that knows that there's something deeper than just the surface level of this world.
Man, what she's saying here,
have faith in that.
What she's implying here, though, when can you absolutely know that it's true, is a kind of a scientific question, isn't it? This seems to me to be in the world of illusion. Can you absolutely true? Can you scientifically prove?
No. It's saying, like, if you have a belief, all right, so you have some belief and it's causing you some suffering. You're going, well, this person has really done this, or this has happened, and then you question the belief and you say, okay, so is this actually true? Right? This person has tried to hurt me. Is it true? Do I know? And then can I absolutely know that's true? Okay, they've behaved in this way.
No, I get that.
It's really a process of self-inquiry.
No, I get that, Jono. What I'm asking really is, do we know such a thing as a Holy Spirit exists? Is it true? Well, I don't know. Can I prove it's absolute? Can I absolutely know that it's true?
You can absolutely know that it's true.
As
Carl Jung said, he says, I don't believe the truth. I know the truth.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Because an enlightened stage, spiritual mastery is, yes, you can absolutely know that it's true. If you spoke to Jesus and can you absolutely know God, he would say, yes, I absolutely know that God is true and real, and that's the only reality.
Yeah.
Same with Buddha, same with Ramana, in all the masters, they absolutely know that this deeper presence, whatever you want to call it, is true.
But
and the journey is to undo our questioning mind, eventually to get to the point where we absolutely know that it's true, and we're not questioning it anymore, and we're not doubting it anymore.
Yes, because I mean, to a lesser being than Carl Jung or Jesus, such as myself, can I absolutely know that it's true? Not sure.
Well, you're not really a lesser being. Don't put yourself in that category. You are absolutely equal to them. You have all the potential they had. It's simply a process of increasing your understanding. As you increase understanding, you have more faith. There's something in you. I mean, why do you keep showing up to these sessions? There's something in you that's saying, well, there's something valuable here. There's something calling you.
Yeah.
That's speaking to you. It's saying, yeah, this is important. And you want to know it. You want to know it more. So just the fact that you're doing it means that there's something there.
Yeah.
You don't do it for no reason. So it's strengthening that faith in that presence. and starting to listen only to that. Say, yeah, that is my guide, that's my rock, that's my foundation. And I hold every belief up to that. And I'm willing to let go of the beliefs that are not in accord with that. So this is a process. The reason it's effective is that it turns around the ego.
Yeah.
So you start with the ego belief, and then you look at it and you say, can you know that this is true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? How do you react when you believe that thought? So you've had a thought and brings an emotional reaction. So how do you react? On the basis of maybe this just isn't true. And who would you be without that thought? Right? So if I just drop the thought and the belief, then who would I be? And so it's an undoing process. It's the reason it's been really effective for people. Is it's a form of undoing. And then you turn it around. Turn around, a sentence expressing the opposite of what one believes. So I think this person has hurt me, and you turn it around and say, well, maybe I've hurt the person.
Yeah.
So, or he doesn't understand me, could become, I don't understand him, or I don't understand myself. So it's flipping the ego around, which is why this is effective. Questioning its beliefs. And we must question the ego's beliefs to increase our faith in the truth. That's how it goes. So I'm just going to skip over all the COVID stuff. It's just an example of how you can apply the thought system of inquiry and say, okay, so let's look at it, and be willing to question all the beliefs that seem to be behind it. It's belief in sickness, belief in loss, belief in scarcity, and questioning, do I absolutely know that these are true? How would I be if I didn't believe this? How would I react? How do I react when I believe that thought? Well, if I believe that it's all true, then I feel fearful. But who would I be without the thought? That turns it around. Well, actually, I'd be free of it. Feel freer, I'd feel happier. So yeah, just an interesting process, which has been very effective for people.
Yeah.
Because it really is a questioning of it. It's an undoing of the ego. And so you start to see that the truly effective processes in this world of personal growth and spirituality are the ones that undo. They undo the ego on some level. And that's what makes them effective. Okay, so that brings us to the lesson. Do you want to read the main lesson and paragraph 1?
Yep. God, love, pure formless awareness is the strength in which I trust. If you are trusting in your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. What can you predict or control? What is there in you that can be counted on? What would give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished?
Okay, so he's asking a whole lot of questions.
Well, I mean, he's asking us, do we honestly believe that we can solve anything ourselves?
Which then brings the question to mind, and if we're honest about it, actually on our own, it's no.
Yeah.
How do we know what the right solution? How do we be aware of every facet of any problem? Yeah. How can we predict or control anything? I mean, life shows us we don't really have much control.
Yeah.
What is there in you that can be counted on? You have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful from that point of view. of the separate self in time and space, trying to figure it all out and get it all right. It's a pretty fearful position.
Okay.
Yeah. Move on to number 2.
Of yourself, you can do none of these things. You believe that you can is to put your trust where trust is unwarranted, and to justify fear, anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. Who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? Yet who can put his faith in strength and feel weak?
Okay.
So expanding on the first question in paragraph 1, and is saying, well, who can actually trust that which is ultimately fallible?
And you can't.
No.
With your trust, where trust is unwarranted. So trusting the ego is never going to work. Trusting a thought system that is based on separation, guilt, sin, fear, attack. This is not a trustworthy thought system. This is not something you can rely on at all. So these questions are designed to get us to see that. So look, actually, you can't rely on this. So abandon it. Let this all go, and give all your faith to this perfect love or oneness that lies outside of time and space.
Yep.
And who can put his faith in strength and feel weak? So if you put your faith here in what is eternal, what is unchanging in your mind, then how can you feel weak? You have the eternal presence within you that simply knows itself as itself. This is to know thyself. And none of the appearances really affect you. So this is the journey, is to know that completely. And you can know that completely. In fact, this is the only thing you can know completely. You can never know the world of perception completely. It's changing all the time. How do you know what's changing? Oh, well, I thought I knew that, and then it changed. Well, did you really know it?
Yeah.
It's always shifting and changing. So it's not knowledge, it's perception. And Jesus is saying this type of learning this, so-called knowledge of the world is not knowledge at all. You're not actually learning anything.
No.
You're only learning what is false, and it's always going to shift and change. So how can you rely on that when it's changing all the time? You just can't. It's building your house on the sand. It's shifting and changing rather than on the rock of truth.
Yeah. Okay.
Number 3.
God, love, pure formless awareness is your safety in every circumstance. Its voice speaks for him, in all situations and in every aspect of all situations, telling you exactly what to do to call upon its strength and its protection. There are no exceptions because God, love, pure formless awareness has no exceptions. And the voice which speaks for him, it thinks as it does.
Okay. Anything stand out for you there?
Well, I like the encompassing enormity of it. There are no exceptions.
Telling exactly what to do to call upon his strength.
Yeah.
Because in every situation, what he's saying, no matter what's happening on the level of form, this presence, this awareness is still there, untouched by whatever's happening here. So you reference that now blue arrow coming in reinterprets the dream and tells you how to interpret it and what to do. And that's not always easy, because the ego, the resistance, the difficulty we have in that is because we still believe in the ego. We've still got an alternate interpretation in our mind. And so we're not willing to accept the one interpretation that's true, which is the Holy Spirit's, the awareness of onenesses of any situation, and simply says, none of this is true. Remember that none of this is true. Whatever's happening here, however dark and fearful this dream gets, none of it is true. However much you think you're suffering, it is still not true. And that's the one message, because that returns you to your true awareness that's unchangeable, unshakable. And then from that awareness, if you can really find that, then you might get some inspiration, some guidance. That will do this. Maybe it just means you don't react. You don't just let it go. Maybe that's all you need to do. Maybe do something on the level of form. But you take the guidance from, but you have to reference to that state of mind. You have to go back there in your mind and go, okay, yes, just remember, I'm still one. Access that state. Right? This is the strength in which you trust. This state of mind, this pure formless awareness, this loving presence that's always there. And so you connect with that, and then that changes your mind, and now it changes your perception of all this. So now you perceive it differently. Perception leads to decisions, decisions leads to actions, and so that's how you change your mind. You change your life by changing your mind.
Yeah, it's good.
And the emphasis here is no exceptions. In all aspects of all situations, there are no exceptions.
Yeah.
So we're tempted to make exceptions. Oh, no, this situation's different. But it's not really different. Because whatever's happening in the dream, it's all the same. The Holy Spirit says it's all a dream. It's all illusion. This hasn't changed at all. So don't make any exceptions. Because then you're believing in another interpretation, which is the ego's. And so then you have a split mind. Okay. So that takes us to the practice. Shall we?
Yep.
Do some practice.
Yeah.
So put you on mute. Do you want to mute yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, so just making yourself comfortable. I'm sitting with your feet shoulder width apart. Back straight, cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Breathing in, noticing how stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clenching the sphincter muscle, locking the energy in. Drawing the energy up into your heart center. Draw it up into the crown of your head, pausing at the top of the inhale, smile. So just repeat today's idea for yourself, to yourself, God, or if you prefer the other alternate forms, love or pure formless awareness. Here's the strength in which I trust. And spend a minute just searching the situations in your life which you've invested with fear. So as each one arises, just breathe into it again to create some space, some awareness. Notice the worry in your mind. Notice how that shows up emotionally, physically, any sensations. Maybe when you think that thought, it creates a little contraction, a little knot in your stomach. At the extreme, you can have reactions like sweaty palms, nausea, and even panic attacks. So notice wherever you are, even a subtle, very subtle, just fear reaction, a contraction in your body. And now be willing to let it go. As you exhale, say, God or love or pure formless awareness. Here's the strength in which I trust. So I'm willing to release this, blow it all out, as it's like a black smoke being blown out of your mouth, just leaving you. Going to the nothingness that it really is. From the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just surrender into the stillness. Slip past your own weakness to the source of real strength within you. Let go of all the concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. If anything else comes to mind, another fear thought about some other situation, bring it to mind. Breathe in. Imagine you breathing in the light. Visualize well, you can see it as a beautiful golden white light. If you don't, just feel a presence, intangible essence, pure formless awareness. You're breathing it into every pore, every cell of your body, into your heart, to your mind, infusing yourself with the strength that transcends all sense of inadequacy. So if a situation causes you concern, then you must associate with feelings of inadequacy and your ego, which feels like it's weak and inadequate. Because otherwise you would believe that you could deal with the situation successfully. It is not by trusting yourself that you will gain confidence. Strength of God or love or pure formless awareness in you. He is successful in all things. So recognizing your frailty is a necessary step in the correction of your errors. It's hardly a sufficient one, giving you the confidence which you need and to which you are entitled. You must also gain awareness that confidence in your real strength is fully justified in every respect and in all circumstances. So feel that, breathe it in. Breathing in the strength and the trust. It comes from that. To every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind is infused with the strength of God or love, your own pure formless awareness, arising very strong mind. Are there any remaining obstacles to that awareness? A little scrap of fear, perhaps, a little bit of anxiety, a little attack thought. Notice that showing up. Just observe it casually and have a little laugh. Say, this is ridiculous. In the face of this strength, this thought is clearly not true and is clearly out of accord with my true strength. This does not serve me at all. So as you exhale, imagine you blowing it away, the breeze of your breath, like a dark cloud, just clearing the way for your own true pure formless awareness. To try to reach down into your mind, to a place of real safety. From the lower stomach into the spine, so you're completely empty. In the emptiness, find the fullness, this place of real safety that Jesus is referring to, which is deep within your own mind. Connect with it, access it. Place of pure formless awareness, untainted by dreams of the world. Sink inwards. You'll recognize that you've reached it if you feel a sense of deep peace, however briefly. Let go of all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind. Concerns about matters of time and space, form and illusion. Reach down below them to the kingdom of heaven, which is the state of pure formless awareness. So let this awareness arise, and only this awareness. Taking your mind into a place, a state of mind that's in you where there is perfect peace, peace of God that passes all understanding, it's been called. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. So reach inwards, sink inwards, let the breath take you there, just breathing in and out through your nose. Observe the subtle flow of air into and out of the nostrils. Just focus your attention on the breath. Keep your mind clear so the mind is unclouded, and then you sink inwards. Or to use another analogy, you go higher than the clouds of thought in your mind into the blue sky of your true awareness. Merging with that awareness. And there's nothing to think. There's no subject-object thought that's necessary in this blue sky. It's simply pure formless awareness. And the light of your source, the creator of this pure formless awareness, shines through it. The light of your source is it. So nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. So, sink inwards to the kingdom of heaven, the state of pure formless awareness. The next few minutes, and just allow yourself to experience this fully. Experience the strength in the state of mind, true strength that will never leave you, in which you can place your full faith. This is the strength in which you can trust in all situations, without exception. There are no exceptions, because God is always present, always and in all ways there. So just step back, watch your breath for a few minutes. I'll be quiet. Sink inwards, let the breath take you deeper and deeper, sinking past all of the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind, as Jesus phrases it. Concerns about form, people, places, events, circumstances, events in life, in the world. Just let all that go and sink inwards to this deep place. The next couple of minutes of deep silence. If any thoughts arise, these thoughts that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind, the trivial things that you're concerned about, just observe them and go past them, release them. Exhale, release them with the breeze of your breath to the nothingness they really are. Just let it all go. Blow these away like dark clouds and go beyond the clouds into the light of pure formless awareness, which is the blue sky, which is untainted by any of these clouds. It is completely unaffected by whatever the cloud patterns are, whatever thoughts and emotions happen to be. They're just cloud patterns. And from this higher perspective, this place of true being, pure formless awareness, you can see that. So just sink into it. And inwards. Deeper and deeper with each breath. Just let go of all the clouds, sink deeper and deeper into this awareness. The blue sky is unclouded, free, open, infinite, expansive. There are no limits. Just Allow yourself to experience freedom, strength, and trust come from this enlightened state of mind. The next few minutes of deep contemplative silence. And so just gently coming back from this deep state of awareness into an awareness of the body and the breath and the senses and the world. And on the count of 3, going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. the top of the inhale. Smile. Notice any thoughts and emotions, particularly any situations you invested with fear. Is anything still lurking there? Just observe it. Casually notice the thoughts, notice the emotions, notice the sensations in the body. Just breathe into all of that. Just breathing in this higher awareness. And reminding yourself that God or love, your own pure formless awareness, is the strength in which I trust. Say that to yourself. Exhale. Exhale, have a sense of releasing these thoughts, these emotions, these physical sensations, blowing them away with the breeze of your breath. So the nothingness they really are. Lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. Just rest in the peace of this pure formless awareness. Exquisite peace, strength, and trust that naturally arises when you are in this state. This is what you can trust because it's permanent, it's unchanging, unshakable in the face of all the appearances of the world. So once more, God or love or pure formless awareness. This awareness is the strength in which I trust in every situation, without exception. So it is said, so it is done. So on the count of 2, just notice the weight of your body, pressing down into the chair and your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling with your hands, touching your hands, your body. Maybe there's a subtle flow of air on your skin. Notice that, breathe it in. Noticing any subtle smell in your nose. Noticing any taste in your mouth. Noticing what you are hearing in the surrounding environment. Noticing all these things from this very still, calm and surrendered state. There's no judgment, no interpretation of sense perceptions. Allow them to arise and pass away, and so you remain in this pure formless awareness. Your mind remains clear and empty and open and spacious, even while part of it's perceiving the illusory world. This is the art of being in the world but not of the world. Being enlightened in a world of form, world of darkness. So we're training our minds to do that through this process, to carry this light with us wherever we go. And so it is said, so it is done. On the count of 3, open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around, reorient yourself, noticing the various objects in the room around you. Again, without any judgment. Just let your eyes randomly move from one object to another, without any judgment. There's no attempt to select or avoid anything, just allow them to rest in this perception that's underlying it as your pure formless awareness. Notice the peace of that. The more you notice it, the more you make this your default state. So anchor the state in for the rest of the afternoon and evening until our evening session, and he just recommends you practice this frequently, repeat the idea often. So even if just for a few seconds, especially in answer to any disturbance. Remember that peace is your right, because you're giving your trust to the strength of God, or love, or pure formless awareness. You can use one of the shorter breath breaks to help top you up in the meantime, and we will do this again. We'll meditate on this evening. So I think that brings us to the end of the session. It's quite a nice short one.
Yes, thank you, John. Yep, thank you.
See you a bit later.
Yes, actually, if you could send that Robert Perry link, that would be great.
I'll try and find it, yeah.
If you can.
Yeah. All right. See you a bit later.
Okay, thanks, Jono. Cheers for now.
Bye for now. Namaste.
Namaste.